Hello everyone, I'm Madhu Jalan and I work with Amazon in finance operations. I'm very happy to be talking to all of you and sharing my growth story with Amazon. I will walk you through the unique culture we have here and opportunities that we get being part of this Amazon family. So let's dive in. I joined Amazon 3 years ago in 2020 and started with the global billing operations. My education background is BCom Honors, Chartered Accountancy, and Executive MBA from IIM Calcutta. I was very passionate about finance, understanding accounting, the nuances of what and how the balance sheets are made, the listed companies' balance sheet. I used to look at the annual reports and get very excited. So that's how I continued to try and gain more on the finance side and try to also get into an executive MBA, which would allow me to get a better idea of how the finance world works. Then, in terms of my career background, I started with the consulting firm where I spent 4 5 years in auditing. Then I moved to Bharti Airtel in a corporate job where I was looking at assurance function for Bharti Airtel, which was a very important vertical for the CFO because in those days telecom was a growing business and it had several technological and finances related angles that would meet each other and require synergy and require the right controls so that with the technology we are doing the right thing and we are adding to the bottom line. Then I moved to Via Global, and there I was one of the team members setting up the shared services center along with my leader, and that was growing from like 3 people to over 500 people, and then gradually it grew to maybe a center of 2,000, 3,000 people. And this entire setup where I was working closely with was an O2C function. In Tata, I was looking at the making the balance sheet, GLs, and the hygiene reporting of the various GLs of the company, and doing multiple finance-related controls and risk, and also working on the COSO framework. Uh, with Maersk Global, I was a regional controller, and then I took the finance controller role for the HQ for the fixed cost operations. And also, we used to be responsible for all of indirect and direct taxation and the entire balance sheet and P&L closure for the multiple legal entities. So, in all, these different finance vertical exposure help me understand how the different functions of the company work together and where are the key balance sheet areas where exposures are possible and how to avoid those exposures, what are the right controls to have. And through that, I believe when I joined Amazon, the past experience helped me to be able to look at it from those lenses and see that how controls can be improved. So I joined in Amazon uh, for the global billing and ORT function. And within 1 year, my role increased and I took over global retail disputes and emerging collections. In 2022, my role further increased to include everything in global retail and emerging channels. In 2022-23 now, I look at the other shared services centers as well as India service centers for retail and emerging. My current team and role is invoice to cash for retail and emerging businesses. We have 36 plus unique businesses and we work with global teams which are very diverse in natures. We have army veterans, we have the diversity coming from different cultures, different countries who are working in these global teams. And we help them in building successful careers with Amazon. And we work to expand roles, upstream and downstream knowledges for the people, and then they are able to expand their roles to do different things. We are very flexible also on the IJP policy where people are able to shift roles from one role to another. My typical day is will start with looking at my calendar and trying to prioritize it well a week in advance, because that allows me to make sure that my priorities are clearly there on my calendar, and whatever I need to deprioritize, I can deprioritize. Then I will look at my critical numbers to see how business is doing, and if I need to take any action, I can plan those actions. Plus, it's very important that being a people leader, that if people are reaching out in office, you have some flexible time. So I make sure that I keep some flexible time so that I'm available and I'm not showing too busy. Now, talking about some of the achievements that we have done as teams, so there are quite a few, but one that comes on top of my mind is where we did several deep dives, and through that, we identified that multiple processes when you work with multiple products and the systems, the interfaces, and then the multiple handholds that happen during the end-to-end process, there'll be certain risks, and you will have to mitigate those risks by doing some assurance. And we figured that out, and we proposed a assurance function for the I2C cycle. We did a pilot. The pilot had very promising findings, and then this function was given a go ahead. We established that function, and we have been building several robust controls through these functions, and we have been able to deliver a lot of operational efficiencies as well, and enhance the customer experience through this function. So it gives me a lot of pleasure and pride for the team to be able to do this as a vision. We thought about it and then we executed it. So now talking about Amazon, the wonderful thing about Amazon is how seriously we are invested to mentoring, and that is like a very structured program where we are continuously trying to build leaders. I have used mentoring to my advantage, and I have uh, 2 to 3 mentors, some people that I go to, and some where I have structured mentors and I continuously connect with them. They help me as a sounding board. If I have any idea, I'll sound it with them. At this stage also, I will get into sometimes a complex people situation or some strategy related discussion, and I can sound it off with my mentor, get his guidance, and it allows me to be right a lot. And my mentor shares some favorite quotes with me, and one is that you have to persevere, but you also have to be patient. The second one is my favorite, that standing still is never a strategy. You have to keep moving. So in Amazon, the uniqueness about the culture is that we keep moving. We believe in taking high velocity, good quality decisions. On the Amazon mentoring program, I would like to share a few things that the mentoring program is very structured. There are handbooks for mentor and mentee, and that has the experience distilled of how a mentor or mentee will be able to distill the principles and tenets that he will find very useful to hit the ground running. And Amazon allows you to sign up being a mentor or sign up as a mentee on an ongoing basis. And also you could choose your mentor in case, let's say you find a role model leader and you want that role model leader to be a mentor. So Amazon allows you also to reach out to your manager and put that into a structure and get a role model leader that you admire. So you could also consider specific area, and based on that, if you want to develop that skill and you want to work with a mentor in that area, you also could do that and start your journey of being a mentee. Coming to how you can navigate successfully in Amazon, there is no single mantra. However, what has worked very well for a lot of people, my peers, my team, myself, is that we look at the customer first. We work backwards from the customer experience to see that what is the customer need. And then based on that, we will identify and place the business vision and work backwards, create the right team, develop them, build scalable mechanisms to deliver. And that's how we have seen that whatever project will happen, that is successful, and we see going well ahead. Then second thing that I've seen in Amazon work very well is that we try to be right a lot, and if mistakes happen, then we learn from it. Where we have a very beautiful concept of correction of errors. There are documents written where the entire 5 analysis and the uh, complete analysis of how the event happened and how it can be stopped will go. There'll be specific actions coming out of that correction of errors versus somebody being penalized for making an error. So that allows one to experiment and then get the confidence that the leadership is with them and you are allowed to try. You are allowed to try, fail, but not fail for the same mistake again, but definitely try again. So that's another very beautiful principle for the path to success at Amazon. The third one is that the voice of customer is very important. We are very enthusiastic and we go through the customer calls, we go through the customer emails and see that where is it that customer and what is he trying to communicate, and try to then gather that how we can better the customer experience. So those are a few things that helps us being successful and navigate successfully in Amazon. Now talking about the finance roles at Amazon. Finance itself is a very big vertical in Amazon. We have multiple sub verticals: accounts payable, accounts receivable, FOA, and several others. So, which is, I mean, you can find no dearth of roles within the finance verticals. And then you continue to grow within the finance vertical because there are several leadership roles as well in the finance vertical. What is it like in Amazon about the finance role? So it will be about being right a lot. You may not have all the information about a product, about a process, but you have to figure it out. And hence the Amazon principle of dive deep. Hence the Amazon principles of bias for action will help to identify that, okay, what are the things that I'm missing? What are the things that are available? Where are the risks? What controls are required? Where is the compliance needed? And then you will need to connect the dots and you will need to network with the different people to get the right information, get insight, build on it, and then be right along. Build then mechanisms which will be scalable. And with those mechanisms, you will be able to move and create a strong control and compliance framework and replicate it across processes. So that's how within finance roles, we have seen, we have moved and grown our finance vertical and being able to deliver strong governance and control. So one piece of advice for people who want to be in finance roles at Amazon, that Amazon at the speed and exponential growth it has seen over last 10 years, uh, that certainly has been because Amazon has put customer first, and then the finance roles they would work towards the product related and process related part to being right a lot. So with that exponential growth, it is very important that we continue to invent and simplify and be right a lot, because let's say we created a process and system which would work for $100 million product, and then that scales to from 100 million to 1,000 million. So you have to relook at your processes continuously and then look at the scenario and challenge the status quo and raise the bar of your last updated control layout to a stronger layout that can then deal with the exponential growth that has happened and then continued exponential growth that the product and the process may have in future. So the role of finance professional becomes extremely critical and important because they have to attune the processes and controls to the kind of growth that will happen in Amazon, and based on that they will need to continuously check and say that okay, this is what additional is required to contain the risk, and then continue to build scalable and robust mechanisms. Now, my personal leadership mantra is that leadership is not about titles. Leadership is not about your academic qualification or your work experience. Of course, that matters. However, the leadership is about how well we can orchestrate the diverse talent, take people along, create a strong vision, and then create symphony to deliver on that, along with the challenges that will come in the path. Uh, how I take work life balance and improve so that I can focus well. So, I actually move a lot. So, I try to reach out to my coworkers. I frequently will go to the breakout area for either a cup of coffee or for water. We have a very beautiful and very big campus. So moving from one meeting to room to another meeting room, that itself will make you move. And the campus is really beautiful. It's an architectural marvel and best in class interiors. So you can never get enough of our office spaces. So it's a great experience to be in Amazon office. And when I get quiet weekends, I would unwind by reading and spending time with my son. Then I love pets. I'll spend time with them, and then probably also singing. Okay. Now about going over and beyond work, I love experimenting, exploring. So I have been part of the ethics committee. I've been part of corporate social responsibility in my earlier companies with MERS, and I've also led the POSH team. And currently, I support the AFBP program for AR finance operations. And all of this gives different types of exposures, experiences, and helps me learn and stay grounded. My cherished moment and the moment that brought me maximum pride was when I saw that my entire first line and second line had at least one career progression in 2022, and they were all very well deserved. And of course, a leader feels very happy when they see their team growing. What makes me happy working at Amazon is the culture, is the way we trust each other, the way we passionately work. And I mean, if somebody comes with an idea, he will try to see the end to end. He will be able to easily collaborate, and he's allowed to challenge the status quo. People will across levels. I mean, he could challenge the status quo and talk to people 2 levels above, 3 levels above, and they will all welcome. And those brainstormings are done in a very amicable and professional manner, so which allows people to go out, reach, and try new things. And that culture of giving inclusion and equal opportunity to everyone to explore and perform, and it doesn't matter who is saying it, what is being said is very important, and leadership is always listening. So that makes Amazon very beautiful. Thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to all of you regarding my story. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a note and we will get back to you.